So, you've bought a new MacBook, and now you're looking for accessories that will help improve your experience, get more work done, and make the most out of your latest purchase. Well, you're in the right place. I've spent more time and money than I care to admit on trying accessories, a lot of which I no longer even use, and in this video I'm going to take you through accessories that are worth buying to save you all of that trial and error. Let's get right into it. One of the most important things I've ever gotten for my MacBook has to be a dongle. What does it do? Well, first of all, it gives you the added functionality of the additional ports that you may or may not have, especially if you're using one of these MacBook Airs. It gives you a range of options such as Ethernet, VGA, a number of USB-A ports, Thunderbolt pass-through, HDMI, and your SD card slots, which are super important for the likes of myself, who is constantly shooting footage and needs SD cards in and out of the laptop. And it really comes in handy, as I said, with the MacBook Air because it doesn't, as standard, come with all those ports, so definitely would be my first purchase. At the moment, I'm recording this off my Elgato Wave 3 mic, and it's coming through the dongle into the MacBook, and it's just perfect. The only thing I will say on this is be cautious, because if you buy one that doesn't have the correct specs and you plan on using your laptop to dock in your setup, then it will cause issues. But what happened with me is I have 2 or 3 of these now, and through trial and error and reading the spec sheet quite closely, I found that certain ones, I think it's this one, will not support over 60 Hz, for example, at 4K. So you need to be very careful when you're looking at the specs before pulling the trigger. Now, that said, we'll move this to the side. And if you don't need that kind of dongle, you can always get something like this. This is a HDMI to USB-C dongle. And if you know you're only going to need a HDMI dongle, well then you can probably sell it for something like this. It supports everything up to kind of the highest frame rates and the highest quality of screen, and it's really perfect. The only problem and drawback for me is that it's literally one port. It's kind of a waste for the Thunderbolt port, so as a result I simply have to go with a bigger dongle, but that is the first thing I would recommend. Next up, if you've decided to go with one of the base model MacBooks and you now have your dongle, the next thing I'd recommend picking up is a hard drive. This one here is from Seagate. It's 1,000,000 years old, as I've had this through college years ago and it's been thrown around the place, so ignore that. But it really adds to the capability of your laptop, and external storage is a lot cheaper than Apple adding it on in store, so definitely something to look into if you are going to be working with bigger files and you don't want to pay the extra for the inbuilt storage. Next up, and one of the big ones for me, especially when using a MacBook as kind of the desktop setup, and that is Bluetooth peripherals. So here we have a Wamir SK65. This is a mechanical keyboard, and I have done kind of a comparison between this and the Apple keyboard, so check that out if you are interested. This has been my kind of go-to first mechanical Bluetooth keyboard that just kind of does it all in one, and I have to say I'm extremely impressed with it. I'd highly recommend this, especially if you are, and most of us are, going to set up your laptop as kind of a main PC at your desk setup. It's crucial because once you close the lid on your laptop and you might want to store it there, you're going to need a keyboard and mouse that just works seamlessly, and this definitely is one. Now, if this doesn't kind of tickle your fancy, we'll leave that to one side. You can always use or pick up rather the Apple Magic Keyboard. This is my one in space grey. I don't know if it's worth the premium. It does look pretty cool, but I don't know if it's worth the premium. That said, it's quite a nice keyboard. It's super thin, does the job. The only complaint I've kind of mentioned in previous videos that I have with this is that it's very painful for long periods of time when you're typing. As it's so shallow and super thin, you I personally get a lot of hand fatigue when using this, so I definitely would opt for the mechanical option. Now, sticking with the somewhat Bluetooth options, and we're moving more into the audio category, I would highly recommend picking up a pair of these. These are the AirPods Pro version 2. And I have to say they're probably the best investment I've ever made in terms of audio and just portability in general. They are perfect. They work with every single Apple device, including my work one, and I literally cannot fault them. So highly recommend these. Now, if you are the type of person who doesn't necessarily like the Bluetooth Apple experience and it may kind of irritate your ears, which it does to mine as well, by the way, I would recommend going with something like these. So these are Dynamic DT770 Pros. These are the 80 ohm version, and I have to say these are my favorite studio headphones. You can plug them into an amp or just directly into the jack on the side of your laptop. I think you should still make use of that jack that's on your laptop while Apple still have it there. You know, they say you don't appreciate things until they're gone, and we definitely noticed that with the other ports as they were being removed over the years. So these are my top picks for audio accessories that you need for your laptop. And realistically, the AirPods are probably better from if you're going out into a coffee shop and working point of view, but equally, if you have it set up as a desk setup, these are going to be perfect. Now, other accessories you should maybe consider for your laptop are the likes of a laptop holder or a MacBook holder. It ensures your MacBook gets good airflow while it's docked. It does look cool on the desk and presents the laptop nicely, and it allows you to kind of leave your Mac docked and just out of the way in the corner. Having it upright just gives you more space on the desk than obviously having it like it is here. You can also, if you're like me and you've went with, this is my work laptop, the MacBook Pro, but if you have like me and went with the midnight finish on your M3 MacBook Air, you might be inundated with just wiping the fingerprints away day and night. And what you could do there is buy some sort of skin. I think D-Brand and companies like that do certain skins you can apply. It's not my cup of tea, but it's definitely an accessory you can look into. And similarly with the screen, if you get your screen all grubby and you don't want to be cleaning it all the time, you can definitely look into some form of screen protector. Now with that said, those are my essentials for my MacBook. If you have any others that you can think of, drop them in the comments below, as I'm always on the hunt for the next MacBook accessory. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.